All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back for another edition here. Once again, this is going to be a life-changing video that only a few hundred people are going to watch, and so be it. I'm going to keep going until this thing blows up. I refuse to quit. So I want to talk about a very, very important subject. Some of you guys might have kids, okay? I have kids, a child now, and it has changed my life dramatically in so many ways, okay? And one very, very profound way that it has changed me is the way I look at other kids now. Because I have worked ruthlessly on my own health, because my wife is super, super healthy, because our son, thank God, is healthy, I've started to look around and have been able to see where the virus starts. Okay, what do I mean by the virus? Well, let's face it. Most of the population is pretty fucked up. Okay, if you look at this country, let's just isolate this country, even though it's not just about this country. The levels of misery on people's faces, what they wear on their in their energy, the misery, the hatred, the disdain, the closing of the heart, the lack of connection, the God-sized hole, okay, in every man and woman. Mostly men, right? I think women are doing a much better job, is just remarkable, okay? The suffering is remarkable. The misery is remarkable, all right? And people are in bad shape, okay? And it's a virus. And when I was drinking a lot of ayahuasca, I saw the virus. It was like something that was on me and in me, and just, I couldn't shake it no matter what I did. It was just infected. You know, there's a movie where the guy, Tom Hardy, gets bitten by something and or actually it's called District 9. And the guy gets bit by something and his arm starts turning into an alien and it's just traveling up his arm and it's continuing to travel. I felt that way. I felt that way about this virus that I'm talking about. This virus of just being sick, right? Feeling sick inside of myself, being sick. And you know what? I'll be honest. The virus is never fully gone 100%. We're always going to have the blood of our parents and their parents. We're always going to carry DNA and this bloodline of to some degree of pain. That's just part of being a human. But it does not have to own us, and we do not need to embody it. And it can be something that you purge little by little for decades and decades. Okay, there's no quick purge of this virus. There's no quick purge. You can go to the jungle, go try and do Iboga, go try and purge this thing in one weekend. Good luck. Good luck. All right. That being said, it starts when we're babies. And I can see it in babies' faces and on babies' energies, in the energy of a baby. I can see it. That something of the spirit starts to collapse at a very young age. Either starts to get traumatized and beaten down by not only the energetics of society, but of the actual toxins and biological havoc that we're dealing with. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's slideshow. Okay, we're going to talk about this biological havoc that your children are subjected to if you don't have your wits about you. Okay, so let us begin. Why Your Children Are Sick by Josh Mason. Okay, now I just want to say, through all this work I've done, I've activated a certain level of vision, right? So when I'm looking at someone, I'm able to see sickness. I'm able to see unhappiness. I'm able to feel where someone is resting their energy. And I'm not saying I'm some sort of guru or have perfect vision or this or that, or I'm not some sort of Akashic record reader. But when you awaken, when you activate your third eye, when you heal your traumas, you start to be able to see this in other people, pain, okay? And when you look at kids and you have a kid, you can actually start to see, wow, life is already crunching this child. Like I see so many kids where life is already slapping them. They're like 1 year old, 2 years old, and they're already starting to take on the pain of their parents. It shows in their face. It shows with the lack of zest and exuberance and light in the child's energy. And this might all sound vague, but it's pretty basic shit. I'm not talking about like woo-woo spirituality. I'm just talking about, look, you're meant to be a being of light. You're meant to have good skin, good eyes, love, connection, good energy, right? You're meant to have this stuff. Oh, by the way, let me do this so I can look closer to you guys, right? So you're meant to have this, let's just call it life force. It's yours. Society has bashed you and you've consented to giving it away, okay? But it's actually yours and it's your birthright to have it, and you got to work for it and earn it. A lot of people have it no matter what, right? When you're in your 20s, you have this no matter what. No matter what you do, you're fine. The 30s come and you start to collapse. Things start to fall apart. And it starts as a baby. That's what I'm trying to share with you guys. It starts as a baby. And if you have vision, you can see it before it gets to a mission critical state. People come to me all the time like, everything in my life was perfect until I turned 24 and I went on Accutane, and then my life fell apart mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially. Really? Really? You really think Accutane is strong enough to be the only fucking reason for a full-on mental, physical, spiritual, emotional collapse? No. Doesn't work like that. We're talking about a cooking of the carrots for 26 years. That's how long those carrots cooked for. And the Accutane was the body burden point. It was the straw on the camel's back, straw that broke the camel's back, right? And it's not even that significant. The straw that breaks the camel's back is no more significant than the fucking vaccine you take the day you're born. Hep B, okay? So some of this might be controversial. I'm not a doctor, just remember, most of the time I have no idea what I'm talking about, right? So, but let's go into some thoughts here, okay? I'm not here to tell you how to be a perfect dad. I don't really know exactly how to be a great, I think I'm a decent father, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing. It's new, it's intense. But what I've found is that something is turning the children gray. The children are getting affected by things, okay? And I look around at other babies and I can already see this stuff happening, right? I've already shared all of this. The virus, the metals, the parasites, the spiritual agony worn like a second skin. All right? Now, they're already carrying a mountain of toxicity. All right? I think I already went over all of this shit already. All right? So what is the average baby being hit with in their first year if you don't have your wits about you, if you're not present to this? Year 1. Day 1, hepatitis B vaccine and vitamin K shot, okay? That's just 2 vaccines with relatively unknown ingredients in terms of the fillers, right? And the thimerosal and all different kinds of formaldehyde and toxins, right? I'm not saying not to get vitamin K, but you should definitely consider whether or not to get hepatitis B. It's absurd that you give a vaccine for we're talking about an STD. Or transmitted via needle to a 1-day-old baby. Insane, okay? And then you got 20 injections in the first 12 months. Again, I'm not here to tell you whether or not to get vaccinated for your children. There's pros and cons. But you got to look at what is going inside of the child in general in the first couple years of their life. And you got to make educated decisions, and you got to factor it all, put it all into account, and all things considered, make your decisions. Okay, I'm not saying right or wrong or good or bad, but we must look at this. Okay, and there is harmful material in vaccines. It's like, I don't even know how we're disputing that anymore. There is harmful material in vaccines. Whether they have a net positive, net negative, I don't know. Okay, I don't want to be vaccinated myself. Okay, but in any case, let's not talk too much about this because this video would be banned, right? But we start moving into baby formula. A lot of mothers can't breastfeed, or they don't have enough supply, or they're too tired, or they work too much, and they move to baby formulas. If you see a commercial for it, run. Okay? If you have seen a commercial for a product, run. There's corn syrup, seed oils, toxins, heavy metals, chemicals in these products. They're awful. Awful. And you got to look at alternatives. Like there's German companies that make better formula. There's camel milk. There's goat milk. There's ways of mixing minerals with goat milk to make your own breast milk. All right. I'm lucky that my wife is breastfeeding, but if she wasn't, I would not turn to a formula. Okay. We got EMF exposure. I hope I'm recording. Fuck, am I? Yeah. We got EMF exposure. So you got Wi-Fi in the house, baby monitors, microwave radiation, cell phone antennas, just whatever. Literally cooking the baby in a microwave if you're left to your own devices, right? Bluetooth speakers, Bluetooth headphones. So a lot of babies are sleeping with the Bluetooth monitor, Bluetooth speaker, Bluetooth alarm clock, Bluetooth cell phone. Jeez, this baby is fragile. You got to keep the baby held. And here, this is what I'll do when I go on rants. I'll shut off the. You got to keep the baby held. You got to understand what it takes to hold a baby energetically. Okay, babies need energetic holding. They need containers. All creatures in the universe need containers. Even a parasite, the host is the container. You look at lions, tigers, bears, they all have dens and caves and zones that they consider theirs for safety. You need a container. The problem is most adults don't even realize that they need a container. You look at homeless people, the reason their energy is so trashed is because there's no container. You can look at a homeless person, and even if it's like from the mind, it's like, wait a minute, they don't look that ugly or that weird or that bad, and their beard is not that long, and their hair is not that dirty, but there's something in their energy that's just like they feel dirty, okay? And I'm talking about I'm not just talking about if you're poor and you're moving, transitioning houses, right? I think because politically correct whole thing, right? I'm going to get sued now. But homelessness, when people are living on the streets, and I'm not judging them, but their energy gets trashed and they can't sleep. They sleep during the day. Why do they sleep during the day? Because there's no container. They try and make one with a cardboard box and this and that, and maybe they can sleep as best as they can, but not having a container is agony for the spirit. If you've ever actually lived in the Amazon jungle like I have, with all screen windows and monkeys and cockroaches and sounds outside so loud, there's no container. I felt so vulnerable and so unsafe. It was very, very unsettling. It was painful. Okay? It was very, very painful. So babies need containers. Okay? And part of the containment is to get rid of all of the excess all of the excess radiation to keep them held and protected. Okay? And basically, I already shared about this, the lack of parental presence as well. I see kids, like, I was in London the other day, and I saw this, 1-year-old baby in a stroller in the most disgusting part of the city. I was in a place called, Camden. Okay? Whatever you do, don't get an Airbnb in Camden. This place was atrocious energetically. It needs a shower, the whole city. But what I saw was a child, we were protecting our baby, covering it with blankets and putting a screen on the stroller, and we were only going to be outside for 20 minutes at a time. There's so much toxic energy in the air. And we saw this 1-year-old in the front of the stroller facing out, just taking it all in, and just beat up, just so beat up and so tired and just drained, sitting there in the front, walking through the busiest part of Camden. And I was just mind blown. And that's just a lack of presence. It's just a total lack of awareness for the sensitivity of a child. Of course, the sensitivity of the adult as well, but it starts with the adult having no idea what he or she needs, probably dealing with illness, dealing with all kinds of shit, and then just having no idea what their child needs because they don't understand that level of vulnerability within themselves or the child. What I'm trying to get at is we're vulnerable creatures. We need containers. We need containment. We need safety. And we need hygiene. Okay? So then you got antibiotics that come in, right? Baby gets sick all the time. Antibiotics, destroys gut flora, weakens immunity. You got fluoride in the water, in the tap water that they drink, in the water that they're taking a bath. We always put iodine in our bathtub. Let's start going through solutions right off the bat, right? So I already told you, right? Look up alternatives. Then you got just getting rid of the Wi-Fi in the house, the unnecessary stuff. Learning your own sensitivity. You got to learn your own sensitivity if you want to be a good parent. Antibiotics, okay? Use herbal antibiotics. Don't jump straight to the antibiotic unless your child is, of course, is in danger, but there's other things to do. Check out vitamin D for children. Check out iodine for children. Okay? Breast milk is an unbelievable antibiotic. And then the fluoride. So we use iodine in the water. We give low dose iodine, super low dose iodine to our child once a week. And get a chlorine shower filter or bath filter, right? Now, bottles, toys, we always have if our milk is being pumped, it goes into a glass bottle, right? Toys, look, that's going to be a tough one. We have plastic toys, silicone toys, it's okay. But be conscious of what you're putting the food in, the baby food. Be conscious of what the formula, if you're getting formula, where it comes. All right? Now, also be conscious of what you're cleaning the baby's clothes in, what you're cleaning your clothes in, what you smell like. If you're wearing toxic parabens, sunscreens, fragrances that destroy the endocrine system. Now, again, this is not something that happens one day you wear perfume and your child is injured. We're talking about years and years and decades of bioaccumulation. So it's not about being fearful of like, oh my God, I got to go throw everything away. Do it over the course of a few weeks. Learn about what's toxic and throw it away and buy replacement shit. Perfume smells terrible. Women, seriously, I'm gonna be straight up, men and women. If you want a conscious, and I'm going on a rant, so I'm gonna switch back over. If you want a conscious man or a conscious partner, a conscious woman, conscious man, if you want a man or a woman who really, really loves themselves, who's connected to the earth, who loves God, who is connected to spirit, who's on a track of greatness and connection. Well, that's not fully true because a lot of hippies are not necessarily on a path of greatness, but they don't wear perfume, right? But let's just say if you want to find your partner, it's not going to come from the perfume. The perfume is a trick. It's a total trick. It doesn't actually do the same thing that your natural pheromones will do. Your natural hygiene. You clean the inside of your body, your natural smell is going to be magnetic to your life partner. And it's one of the most important senses to finding a partnership. I've been duped. I've smelled women, and because I always go based on smell a lot of times, and I can smell the perfume. And many, many years ago, I would get tricked into it, like, oh, she smells so good. But then without the makeup, without the perfume, who is she really? And actually, she was sick. She wasn't well. And so you don't need to trick anyone. Just simply get healthy. Just simply love yourself. Use essential oils, right? Use clean deodorant. Like you can still alter your smell, but just use herbs. Use nature. You don't need synthesized chemicals that are literally like as complex of an industry as like cell phone addiction. You know, it's like they create smells to perfectly hijack your just like Doritos are meant to hijack your taste buds. Fragrances are meant to hijack your brain, and they cover up the real smell. And that real smell is where you're going to learn a lot about that person. You ever been with someone that has a bad, sick smell? Doesn't matter what your mind thinks. Like, oh, well, but they make a lot of money, but they have really beautiful skin, but they do this, but they do that, but they tell me they love me. All right, well, they got a sick smell. They got to work on it. And I'm not, well, I am judging. I am. All right. Let's keep going here. So, skincare products on your baby, just coconut oil. It's so fucking easy. All right. Natural sunscreens. Check out pajamas. They're loaded. Just get organic cotton, guys. Organic cotton, organic bamboo, hemp. We just love organic cotton for our baby. Air filters, especially when you have the diapers. If you're throwing away the diapers, don't have an open air garbage. Make sure it's closed tight. We use filters in the house, in bedroom and living room. And we also have a specific like diaper garbage can. All right. And then, of course, C-section, you want to try and avoid it. But if you already have a kid, it's okay. There's always a way forward. Always. Even if every single thing you've done here wrong, all 12 slides, you're like, fuck, I've done everything wrong. I'm a piece of shit. No, you can change now. And just like Bitcoin, the best time to buy Bitcoin was yesterday. The second best time is now. The best time to detox was yesterday. The next second best time now after this YouTube video. All right. Lack of skin to skin and breastfeeding. Big deal that kids deal with. Blue light. Okay. Which affects their melatonin. Now, again, I'm just going over like all of the things that your kid gets hit with, like a little thorn here, a little thorn there, a little chip here, a little chip there, acetaminophen, whatever. It shuts down your glutathione. I'm just saying these are little chips that affect the overall health of your child. Left to our own devices and left to trusting society and trusting government, we're going to make bad decisions for our health and our health of our family. That's what I'm trying to share with you guys. Once you learn about it, it doesn't take that much willpower to change. It's so easy. I never wake up thinking, oh my goodness, this is so hard work to keep my son healthy. No, you buy essential oils instead of cologne. You buy a different deodorant. You buy a different toothpaste. You buy organic cotton. Everything costs 10 or 15% more money, and you never stray from that, like healthy diapers instead of the plastic diapers, right? It's a little more expensive. Yeah, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You focus on the health of your family, yourself, and your children. Money comes. Money always comes. And if it's not coming, there's emotional blockages. Money problems are emotional problems. Full stop. Just full stop. Okay? And that's a whole other video. All right? So, and they're health problems. Money problems are health and emotional problems. And I do have major sympathy for families who are in survival and like immigrated to this country and have to work like shit jobs to make it happen. Like I understand, I know, and you can still invest in your health. I promise you. All right. So processed foods, again, more shit for the child to deal with. All right. And what I want to end this with, all right, because I think we already went into some solutions. What I want to end this with is, if you're not focused on this sort of stuff, it's maybe because it's not the pain isn't loud enough for you, or maybe life is too busy. Okay? But what you don't, and this is what I learned in the Amazon jungle, and it was painful to see this. I remember being in so much agony in the Amazon, like wanting to die. I was literally just like, I can't do this. I have to take my own life. I have to. This is a torture chamber. And I remember sitting there in the ceremony, and when I thought those words to myself, like I'm going to kill myself, I saw that if I did that I would literally create a Groundhog Day situation for myself. And the next time I plug back into this earth, which I would inevitably do, because when you are not free and you are dead and you die under circumstances when you're in a lot of pain and you have no connection to God, you will be recycled. It's going to sound crazy. You'll be recycled because you don't have your free will. You don't have your choice. You don't have the ability to navigate, and your spirit can't navigate. You get plucked up by other forces. This is what I believe. Could be wrong. And you get recycled. and you go start where you left off, otherwise known as like karma, right? Or past life karma. And I saw that I would, no matter what I did, I couldn't get away from it. If I didn't deal with it, my child would deal with it. If I killed myself, I would deal with it next time. There was no escape, nowhere to go. I was stuck, and I had to do the work. And that was it. That's it. That's my lesson to you. You have to do the work. There's nowhere to go. There's no drugs, no pills, no death, no sex, drugs, rock and roll that's going to take you away from the bare bones fact that you have karma to heal, you have pain inside of you that needs to be transmuted, transformed, and that there's toxins in your system. There's nothing. And that you're simply the work, for like the bucket work that it's called in one of the masculine book, Iron John. Doing the bucket work. This is what life is. A lot of it. Bucket and water, taking it out of the boat. You're rich? Okay, get back to the bucket and the water. You have a lot of sex? Okay, get back to you famous? Okay, get back to the work. All right? So whatever you don't clear, your kids will carry. They'll feel the weight of what you ignored, and they'll live inside the patterns that you didn't break. I'm not saying this to create fear. I'm letting you know. You're going to have to see for yourself, if you believe me here. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide. You have to do the work. It's not easy. This life is not easy. I don't know that it's meant to be easy. Okay, I don't know. I don't think that's the point. I think it's supposed to be hard. And I think there's a lot of work entailed to get what you want in every arena of life. I think it has to be that way. So, protect your children, protect yourself, and start focusing on every single thing that goes in that child's mouth or on that child's skin. From the plates, the detergents, the soaps, the conditioners, the moisturizers, the toothpaste, what you're putting on your skin, because that goes through the breast milk. And detox your home. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed the show, guys. Leave me a comment, please. I literally read every comment obsessively. And it's important that I understand that you guys are appreciating and enjoying this. And it's fuel to keep me going. Because, because YouTube is at this point, one of the weaker links of the business. So we're trying to put some juice into it. Okay? Thank you guys very much. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you on the other side. Make sure you get on a detox journey ASAP. Peace.